apologize for the quick delay. I had technical issues on my end. Um, Software was running really slow on my computer, so I had to reboot it real quick. But today we're going to create a winter scene. This is what I created. A little One of them I created. I actually ran out of white. So pro tip: you don't have to use a lot of paint. So I use a canvas, as you can see. It's kind of what it looks like. You don't have to use a canvas. You can use a construction paper, colored, or you can use like printing paper. Anything will work. You just want to make sure you have a nice clean work area. You have like a paint shirt on, which is what I got here. Or you have all your stuff you need already around you, which is your paintbrush, paint sponges, maybe your fingers, then a cup of water. Sure you get your parents' approval before a certain cup you use, and then paint tray, and then maybe you need some napkins. So if you start with canvas, what you're going to do is you want to get a nice coat of water on your canvas, nice even coat. Lower this down so you can see while we're working here. A nice even coat of water. This will help the paint spread a lot easier, especially if you're using like acrylic. If you're working on, construction paper or regular paper, you do not have to worry about this step due to the fact that canvas just can be a little bit harder to get some paint on there. I know winter doesn't look the same for everyone, depending where you're at in the country or in the world. So you can do a nice winter scene and can have some snow in there, or maybe you live in like Arizona and you have some cactus, or New Mexico or something, and you have some cactus, and maybe you put some snow on some cactus. I think that'd be pretty cool. Or if you're Florida or LA area, maybe it's some palm trees. So you're just getting some palm trees in there. So yeah, just takes not too long. Just want a nice even coat of water on there. Again, I apologize for the delay. Getting started late. Where I'm at, super snowy, so when I got off work, it took me a little bit longer to get home, and then I had technical delays, sadly. So, those are never fun. Never fun. So yeah, you get a nice even coat. You can kind of look at it, make sure it's all there. Looks like it's a nice even coat. And then what you want to do next is you're going to put paint on your paint tray. So today, always leave it up to you how you want to do this. Whether you want it during the daytime, you want a little bit of nighttime action in there. So just get a little bit of paint. Just get a little bit of paint on there to start with. You don't need a whole lot right now. Can get a little tricky mixing some paints. That's the next, one of those tricky things to do is mixing paint. I was always, growing up, the kid that used too much glue or too much paint. So I know what that's like. But yeah, you don't have to use a whole lot. Just a little bit to get started. Colors I'm using, if you're using acrylic, I'm using some titanium white, some lamp black, and phthalo blue. And probably going to use some yellow ochre as well. Normal colors are okay to use as well. I use normal in the loose term is just like, without like the fancy name in front of it. So, probably want to get, what size brush is this? 3/4 of an inch? I think that's pretty good. Get the paintbrush a little bit wet here. smack it around on my cup here. So when you're doing this, you can kind of pick how you want to do this with colors, you know, how you want to mix them. But usually you just dip your paintbrush in one of the colors here, and maybe it's mixing. Get a nice little mix in there. Probably gonna use a lot of white. That is normal though. That is okay. Just want a nice, even coat there, and then honestly it's just kind of doing your own little thing on here. I'm going to put a little bit of this nice, I mixed my yellow ochre and I mixed some white in there. Get a nice little, just a very light color. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a very, very light coloring. I'm just going to make sure it's nice and even and just get started. And how you want it to go, you just want it nice light coating. You want to start in the middle and just kind of like branch out. Just branch out. Just kind of like this. Because you want a nice even coat. Always start in the middle and go out. And then tree today, you can pick any kind of tree you want to do. I'm doing a nice little background before I get started. You can, if you want to challenge yourself, you can make a nice wintry scene as well. You know, I have that option on there. Again, just want to nice, even from the outside into the from the middle to the outside. Now, kind of want to know what kind of, you guys gonna do a winter scene, or are you guys gonna do a tree? If you're able to, maybe just could leave a comment or something after. I'd like to see what everyone's kind of creating. And when you're done, just kind of smack your paintbrush along the edge. Maybe it's tapping on the little napkins and whatnot below, just to make sure it's dry. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to get some more white, put that on my tray here. Try to get that brush as dry as you can. Don't want it wet. I'm going to get a little bit of black. Don't need a whole lot. Get some blue in there, that phthalo blue. Maybe get some white. Get some white in there. Just making a winter background, so in my mind, today it was snowing, so just kind of want it to be cold. Nice cold background. And maybe it's just blending some of that color in. Again, it's kind of from the outside, going into, starting in the middle, going to the outside. Maybe this is a nice little moon, and these skies just got some cloud cover over in there. Maybe it's a little more white. Maybe get some of that blending, a little more blending in there. Maybe get some of that yellow ochre too, just so you can get that nice blend. Now, I'm not some rock star painter, fairly new into it, but it might be something I kind of pick up here. Oops, got a little bit of on my laptop there. That's all right. It will come off. Get like a little wet napkin. Maybe get some more of that yellow ochre. get more of that blend. Get some more blending in there. Hope everyone is out there is having a good day. You can see it's kind of starting to come together a little bit. Again, you don't have to use a whole lot of paint. If you're using acrylic, it does dry pretty fast, so you don't have to worry about any of that. Get my paintbrush here, a little cleaning. Alright, so next, I'm going to dry this paintbrush off. Just make sure it's nice and dry. Don't want to have it too wet because then the paint kind of can just fall right off there. Just do some more blending in there. You want to make sure you're going kind of the same way when it comes to this. You don't want to go up and down and side to side. You just want it to be nice and even. Nice and even. Alright. So, maybe you're doing a little wintry scene. Like, what's next? Well, doing a winter scene, kind of wanted to bring this lower gradient to dark, just because if you think about it, you do have, in painting, you have like a light source, and eventually it gets darker as you go down into your paint. And we'll get some phthalo blue, got blue in there, get a little more black, get a little mixture. Again, to me, winter's cold. Winter's, where I'm from, winter's pretty cold, so we'll just get some of this. What you want to do is you do want to try to get that background done. I think what I'm just going to do is since I'm still pretty new, I just want to do a nice winter tree. So I want to make sure all the back is covered. Do some blending in. Bring this color down. So we'll do a nice little background here. Might have to blend a little bit more, but creating a tree, you're going to be able to hide some of that. You're going to be able to hide some of that. Almost knocked over my paint tray. That could have been not very good. That's why I need a good workspace. eventually maybe down here for me, since I'm using a lot of darker colors right now, maybe towards the bottom it's a little more black than blue in there, so it's just pretty dark, pretty cold. And then maybe if you're in somewhere warm, you just got a nice bright picture, bright picture, and that's okay too. Use that imagination. Make your winter scene, wintry tree or scene how you want it to be. Because in the end, it is your work. Again, if you're super into painting and really like painting, you know, maybe it's challenging yourself and making more of a winter scene. Like I said, kind of newer into painting. Kind of something I want to get into. So, I think this would be fun. Let me bring some of this up in here. Get better blending in. Should have a nice, pretty nice gradient. Now out there, I wanna know what kind of tree you guys gonna do. Gonna make it like a pine tree with snow on the pine tree, what kind of comes at Christmas, or are you gonna do like one of those trees where the leaves fall off in the winter time? Let me lower this a little bit. So if you're like me, you're probably messy, and therefore I'm gonna have to get a different paint tray because I already used all that up. Set that down there. Hopefully I remember it's there and I don't accidentally step on it, because that won't be good. Still kind of thinking what kind of tree to use here. I think what I might do is I might use a in the forefront, maybe it's a tree. It's a big tree. Maybe not that big, but you know, a nice sized tree here, and maybe it's got all its leaves missing, because you know it's winter time. As it waits to get its leaves back here in the spring. Also, if you're using acrylic paint, make sure you wash out your brushes when you're done. You don't want them to get nasty and hard. You want to be able to reuse them. That is important. So I'm using brown. The kind of brown, if it's acrylic, is burnt umber. It's kind of neat color there. Again, it's titanium white, so maybe it's just brown and white for you. Should be nice and relaxing. Shouldn't be stressed doing this painting. Should be fun. So, yeah. I'm going to take my I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use a 1/2 inch brush. If you have one brush, that's okay. It's no big deal. Just make sure you rinse out that brush before you use more color. Don't want to accidentally mix your colors there. Make sure your paintbrush is dry. And I'm just going to start kind of at the bottom. Get a little bit of a tree base in there. Nice tree base. try to do nice long strokes as you create your tree. That way it looks like it's one continuous stroke. Might have to do a coat and a half, maybe coat or two on here to get it really to kind of pop. Just because you got a little bit darker colors, so it could be a little bit harder to see. But again, once we get some white down here for some snow, should liven that up a little bit. And I chose to kind of do it right smack dab in the middle, and that's alright. And then once you get to a certain point you think it's pretty high, you should start to branch that out. Branch your tree out. Nice little tree here. Again, what's cool about art is you make it to how you want it. Don't have to be a Picasso or some famous artist to be able to paint or to do art. You can have fun. And maybe it's get to a point where you want to use a different color brush size if you have it. If you don't have it, use your brush. I'll bring it back up here. Use your brush like the top of it to make some branches, kind of like hold it like this. Might be able to sorry, my phone is giving updates about the weather. Got some nasty weather coming in. But again, maybe it's just holding it from the top and then going like this to like make some branches, to thin some branches out. Maybe it's create some of those smaller branches that you get with trees as you get further and further up. Like I said, acrylic does kind of tend to dry pretty quick. So you should be able to just come back through here, add some more brown in there. Can show you some pretty cool tricks later with the paint for like snow, depending if you want some snowfall in there or not, or it looks like it's kind of coming down. Alright, so I'm going to actually use a different paintbrush. I'm going to keep this one still here, because I think what I want to do is I want to add some different paint branch width in there. What I might do is might touch up some of this, get some more of this back in here. Alright. Ooh, this one actually has. Okay, so I grabbed a different brush, but if you don't have a different brush, that is a-okay. I'm going to add some more brown to my little tray. I kind of push it around there, drag it down. Dragging it down, you're kind of getting the excess paint off, so you're kind of painting your paint tray as well. And then really trying to get these branches that kind of branch out here, going every which way, whatever way makes this tree happy. maybe have a little bird perching up in there, bracing for a cold winter night. Are you guys gonna add some snow into your painting? Or are you just gonna make a nice tree, just cold background? Again, you can have many branches as you want on there. That is up to you and what you, as the artist, how you want your tree to come out as. Maybe your tree's king of the forest, or maybe it's you're painting up the tree in your backyard, and maybe it's the biggest tree in your backyard that you're trying to replicate. Again, this, take your time, have some fun with it. Again, it doesn't have to be your normal winter scene. Maybe it's, like I said earlier, maybe it's you're used to seeing palm trees, or you want palm trees to be in it, or maybe it's just you're making a pine tree and it's this nice big strong pine tree. Or maybe it's a cactus. Just have some fun with it. Make it your own. want to mix a little bit of black with your brown to make it a little bit darker, go ahead and do so. I think that'd be just fine. You're probably thinking, what's next, right? You get your tree all nice. If you didn't do this tree and you did a pine tree, maybe you're just waiting for the next step. So I just want to say thank you for waiting if you're doing a pine tree. It might not be as many branches and steps into that. So I'm just going to rinse off my brush here. So you can do this a couple different ways. Maybe you have a sponge brush. I can show you some examples of that. Some good examples of that. Gotta find my fun brush. Maybe it's something like this. You know, one of these. Or maybe you got one like this, like a dotter, and you can just take your sponge brush and you can just dot some snow on your tree. You know, dot some snow on there. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use like a fan brush. So like one of these, nope, wrong one. One of these, nice fan brush. I'm just going to, think that's what I'm going to do. Kind of not sure yet. Whoa. Not sure how I want to add some snow into there, but we will. We'll add some snow. Get it some more of that winter aspect in there. Maybe what I should do is also, yeah, keep track of all the brushes that you're painting with. That way you can wash them at the end. Don't want to ruin any of your paint brushes, especially if you got some new ones to use just for this. I'm going to use this really tiny paintbrush. You can see it's pretty small. I'm going to use that for my snow. Yeah, be nice. Drag it down here. Can I get a lot of that off? Just use that for my snow. Maybe it's just covering some of the tops of the branches. Now, if your brown's not dry yet, that's okay. Might just pick up some of that brown too as you paint. That's okay. You know why? Because we're having a nice, fun time painting just a nice winter tree. that's way too much paint on my brush. I hope everyone's winter break is going nice. I really do. Hope get some time to decompress from some of that school that's going on, and if you're not in school, having some fun times right now. So notice I'm not trying to use a whole lot. I don't want to cover all my branches in white because I put so much effort into getting those branches nice and kind of prominent. But just enough where it looks like you got some snow clutter on there. If you do have a darker scene, some of your branches might not be popping up, and that's alright. Maybe it's those are the ones you just really cover with a lot of snow. And maybe go through and underline them with some brown. Just take your time. No need to rush it. Just have fun. Have some fun with it. No need to rush. No need to rush. You can do this on a maybe it's seeing it and doing this on a different day. And that's alright. Sometimes it's seeing someone do it a certain way and you're like, that's how, if you didn't know how to put some snow in the tree, I kind of just went for it. And this is kind of like what came to mind. be coming back and touching up and getting a little more of that wintry in there. Really want to make sure it gets right down into where the main trunk is, because snow will just build up in there. Doing a little bit of splotching. Still want to see that tree, because it's probably still going to have visible to the trunk. But all right, wash that one off. You're probably asking, what do you want to do now? Well, for me, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some more snow in the back. So I'm probably going to use a different brush. Maybe get some more white in there. Use the same one I've been using. I think what I want to do is I want to add some snow. Just add some more snow in the background. You know. I'm going to use my fan brush for this one, because I think this would be nice for like snow mounts, maybe. Might have to change my brush, friends. Maybe it's cutting a little bit in front of this tree, because it snowed a lot. Yeah, I think I'm going to change my brush. Don't like how that's kind of going. It's alright though. That is a-okay. If you're like me, you kind of bundle up when you go outside when it's cold, just because sometimes that cold can take a little bit out of you. I think I'm going to go back to my 3/4 brush. Don't need as much paint on there. Yeah, that's better. Controls the paint a little bit more. What I should do is I should add some, a little bit of blue, maybe a little black. Well, it doesn't completely go so white. See what this looks like. Mix some white and that blue up. Yeah, maybe a little bit of black. Not too much. Don't want too much in there. Maybe just a little bit. Nope, that might have been a little too much, but that's alright. got some light in there illuminating some of the snow. That's why it's kind of looking a little different here. Wash this off. Just make sure when you're done, you clean up after yourself. Doing an activity like this can be a little messy, so we just want to make sure we're cleaning up after ourselves, especially if it's an activity like this where it can be paint can get everywhere. And it's just blending that snow into that tree. Or maybe it's not. I don't think I liked how that looked, so I think I might just go tree in the front foreground, which means in the front, and get that snow kind of in the background there. Again, it's easy to kind of fix up there. Kind of wrap up here. I didn't really like how this looked, so I'm just gonna kind of cover it up. Cover it up here. That's the cool thing about Canvas for using it. You can kind of paint over it. Also, I want to teach one quick thing before we go here. And it's if you want some random snow in there, maybe you want some snow falling, or maybe you want it to look like it's falling. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your brush, you're going to dip it in the color that you want. Well, dip it in some white. And it works best if you have a brush kind of like this. But if you don't, that is a-okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to dip our brush in some white. In some white paint. Oh, am I going to have enough white? I got another one. I don't really want to use that one though. Yeah, we'll have enough. What you're going to do is you have a brush like this. If not, just use your brush you've been using. All you want to do is get the tip white, and then what you're going to do is you're going to flick it. Just kind of like this. This is why paint shirt is kind of important. Also, when you're painting normally, maybe you get some, looks like maybe the tree's dropping some snow. Now, with this, your finger's going to be dirty, so don't touch anything after, you know. Make sure you potentially ask a parent to help clean up, because it can be a little bit messy. No, it's 3 o'clock. We ran a little late, so I'll keep just, going a little bit further, just a little bit longer. Oop, I got some paint there. Yeah, this is kind of a cool way to kind of look like you got some snow falling. I'm over here saying you don't need a lot of white, and I'm over here using a lot of white. So maybe you do need a little bit more. But yeah, I think that's kind of it. Show you my finished product here. Kind of looks like this. Yeah, your very own winter tree. Very own winter tree. Kind of neat. Kind of neat. I'm pretty proud of it. I'm not big into painting, so this is kind of a newer thing for me. So hopefully you all had fun, and you can maybe when you get a little brave, if you're not used to it like I am, maybe it's making a winter background, more of a winter scene. I think that'd be pretty cool. I hope everyone had a lot of fun with this activity. I know I did. I find it very therapeutic, just relaxing, nice way to have some fun. Could do a whole family one where your whole family tries to paint like a pretty cool scene. And yeah, hope everyone had some fun, and I want to thank you for tuning in. Bye.